Have you ever noticed like how some people find it so easy to find their self-worth, which kind of correlates in them attracting nice relationships, healthy partners, and beautiful, amazing experiences? While there are some people who find it really hard to find their self-worth, and then that correlates to, you know, attracting not so healthy partners and attracting not so pleasant experiences in their life. Now, the core reason below all of this is self worth. If you feel like you're not worthy of all the good things in life, guess what? That is what will reflect outside in your reality. If you feel like you don't deserve the love and the happiness, guess what? You will attract partners, friendships, relationships which kind of prove your own point to yourself. Now, the reason why you kind of struggle with self-worth is actually because of things that happened in the past, and it's mostly your childhood. Because as a kid, while you were growing up, you did not have this feeling of low self-esteem. You never had this feeling like, I don't deserve all the good things in life. I don't deserve all the love. Everything was fine. It was amazing. Like you literally felt like you deserved the world. You know, you were so, in that childlike wonder state, like you did not feel that cringe when while you had to express yourself to the fullest. But something happened along the line. A series of events would have happened, which kind of caused you to shift your identity. Like, okay, are people judging me? Is mom telling something? Is dad telling something? And whenever you expressed yourself outside, maybe people around you told you to shut up. People around you told you not to speak so much. And then you're like, okay, if we express ourselves, if we are our own true self, we might receive hate, and that is dangerous. So then you kind of shut down. Like, okay, I'll just shift my identity, I'll just change my behavior. And now you're like, okay, I must not express myself. And then if you did not receive love unconditionally as a kid, if love was based on conditions, for example, if you did something and then you would receive love from your parents, like if you tick these check boxes, you scored a certain amount of marks, you achieved X amount of things, and then if you received love based on all these conditions, then your self-worth, your ability to receive love is kind of tied on being conditional. This kind of reflects on your outer relationships when you grow up. So when you become an adult, all your relationships will be based on conditions. Like you'll be thinking, okay, you're dating a new partner, you'll be thinking, okay, I'll fulfill these check boxes and then I will receive love from my partner. This kind of blocks that self-esteem, that self-worth that you feel. And whenever you don't fulfill all these check boxes, you feel like you don't deserve the love that is required, like you don't deserve the happiness. And your entire life becomes this constant cycle of fulfilling these check boxes, constantly, impressing somebody, pleasing somebody, and constantly suppressing your own true emotions, the inability to express your true self. And it's a constant cycle. And that is why you kind of struggle with self worth. Now, self worth is basically built up in your childhood because as a kid, right, you were primarily in a theta state. It's the theta brainwave state. That's when your brain, your subconscious mind, kind of absorbs all information to the fullest. Even right now, right before you go to sleep and right after you wake up, that window is where your brain is in theta state. It's literally in you can also achieve theta state in deep meditation practices and really extreme uh, breath work and concentration. But this is where your subconscious mind is really susceptible to change. So primarily up to 7 years old, as a kid, you were primarily in the theta state, the theta brainwave state. Like you see kids, they absorb information like sponge. So when mom was having some problems, when dad was having some problems, when your family members were having some problems, and they kind of expressed it out as a kid, if you were brought up in this unhealthy environment where there was a lot of abuse, where there was, love only when there were certain conditions met by you, guess what? You would absorb all of that. And as a kid, we tend to internalize every problem that happens around us. Because up to 7 years old, if something happens in the house, if there's some relationship issue with your family members, you would think it's your fault. As a kid, you're like, okay, dad is having this problem, maybe it's me. Mom is having this problem, maybe it's me. You tend to internalize that. And then you start to kind of shift. You're like, okay, maybe if I behave in this way, things will be all right. I am not receiving love. I'm not receiving the amount of affection, care, and love unconditionally. Even only if I tick these check boxes, I receive love. And then that molds your behavior. You kind of absorb that. And then you continue, ticking all these check boxes. Okay, I'll score this amount of marks and then I will receive love. And if you don't, you feel unworthy. You feel like you don't deserve love. And from age 7 to 15, that's where your brain is in alpha state. Now, alpha state is a brainwave where you can achieve this while having really concentrated tasks, and even in certain meditation states, like if you reach a deep meditation, you can also achieve alpha state. Even here, your subconscious mind is pretty active. And then there's the beta state. Beta state is your everyday things, like you casually walking around, just living, existing. Now, from age 7 to age 15, you are primarily in the alpha state. Even now, your subconscious brain is kind of absorbing things. Like these are the ages, right, from 0 to 15, where your mind is literally shaped. The way you show love, receive love, your emotional, intelligence is kind of shaped in these years. And if in these years you experience a lot of emotional trauma, which kind of hurt your self-esteem, which kind of caused you to be someone else in order for you to receive love to the fullest, guess what? That will lay a solid foundation and cause a really big imprint. And this will kind of just grow. And in your adult life, when you're going around, having friendships, relationships, when you're dating somebody, guess what? You will feel that you are not worthy. You'll always feel like you need to achieve certain things in order for you to feel worthy. Like if you don't achieve X amount of things, if you don't buy your significant other some presents, you don't deserve the love. And this is what kind of destroys your self-worth. And in a way, this kind of leads you to attracting partners who kind of prove this point to you. If you believe that you're not worthy of love, of all the good things in life, guess what? The universe will prove it to you, because your self-worth, your identity, even if somebody comes and gives you true love, like unconditional love, you will be in a place where you're unable to accept that love. Literally on the inside, like, I don't deserve this. If you find a really healthy partner who has all the green flags, who provides all the love, care, and affection in the world, internally, you feel like, oh my God, I don't deserve this. And that is just your self-worth kind of swimming up. Now, the way to overcome this is to let go of the shame associated with self-worth, right? Because a part of us feels shameful. Like if I experience this, if I experience that, I don't deserve this. This shame is the root cause of you not feeling that self-worth, that self-love to the fullest. And to overcome the shame, you have to identify the patterns and the root cause of the things which has caused you to feel this way. And most of the times, as I mentioned before, it's from your childhood, it's from all the past traumatic experiences. And in a way that kind of shaped you, like you went through trauma, you're like, okay, I must not be like this. I must not be so expressive. If you are expressive, you will get hurt. If you are being your true self, you will get hurt. If you are showing unconditional love, you will get hurt. And I never received unconditional love, so maybe I don't deserve this. It's like you are resorting back. It's like at that stage, right, when you are a kid, you don't really know how to process your emotions to the fullest. And you're like, whenever you have intense amount of like pain, you're like, okay, I need to avoid this. This is painful. So instead of letting that shame, take over you and letting go of it, as a kid, what we did was, okay, let's just avoid the shame. Let's just avoid feeling this pain. And let's just put on a mask, change our identity, be somebody else, be good enough so that we feel more worthy, and kind of suppress the shame in the background. And this is what continues to happen over the years. And even now, whenever you feel pain, whenever you feel shame, you don't want to feel it. You're kind of suppressing it. And that is the core reason why you're unable to feel worthy. Because in order to feel worthy, you have to identify the shame. And instead of suppressing the shame, feel the shame. Let it out. Release the shame. It's like water, right? You're kind of storing water in a dam. Water has to flow. You're building a bridge, you're building a dam in a river where water is supposed to flow. And you're just holding it there. You're not letting it to release. You're not channeling it out. And one day, the dam is eventually going to break. So when you kind of address this, right? When you have that shame on the inside, you have to learn to feel vulnerable again. Because most of the times, you would have gone through situations, traumatic events, which made you feel like if you are vulnerable, you'll get hurt. And also there's society conditioning you, making you believe that you are not supposed to experience certain emotions, quote unquote, negative emotions. So whenever you have this surge of negative emotions, negative thoughts, you're like, oh my God, I must not express them. I must not feel them. Let me just suppress them. Let me just put on a mask. Let me just put on a band-aid and pretend like none of this happened. Guess what? That is causing you more harm than good. So all you have to do is kind of feel the shame. It's okay. Feel the shame and start being vulnerable again. And being vulnerable is like you're healing your wounds. You're opening up and seeing yourself from the within. And you're like, okay, fine. I have all these negative emotions. You have to acknowledge them, embrace them, and release. And it's okay to scream, to shout, to cry. It's better to cry out one time than to keep crying and cribbing for the rest of your life. And once you let it out, right, you literally feel like the weight has been lifted off your shoulders. And a really good way of release is meditation, which I personally do. I get into a meditative state. Now, this is where your brain waves kind of change from beta state. Like when you're naturally in your waking state, you're in the beta brainwave, and then you slip back to alpha brainwave. And this is where your subconscious mind is more susceptible to change. And now when you are in deep meditation, like you literally close your eyes. I don't mean to sound like a monk. It's not so complicated. Just close your eyes. Let your thoughts arise. Breathe in, breathe out. And through the breath, feel like all these negative emotions are going out. Go down, like go deep into what happened in your childhood. Go process all these emotions that stuck, pent up emotions on the inside, all the shame. Let it come out to the surface. Feel them to the fullest without avoiding them, without suppressing them, and let go, release. Feel all the pain, all those painful situations that happen, all those traumatic events. Feel the pain. Literally feel the pain. Replay that in your mind. Feel them to the fullest and let go of it. Release. And once you do this, like you literally feel like that pain has been lifted off. And you have to be pretty open with yourself, because you can lie to the people outside. You can lie to me, you can lie to your girlfriend, your boyfriend, you can lie to your family, but you can never lie to yourself, because that inner voice will always tell you, like, why are you lying? Deep down inside, you know the truth. You know that you cannot lie to yourself. So openly express yourself to yourself and let go of all that pain, that resistance on the inside. And you literally feel so free and whole. And once you start doing this, right, once you have let go of all that shame associated with your pain, you will start finding your self-worth back again. And this is where you must, reprogram your subconscious mind into believing that you are worthy, because you are worthy, right? That is baseline state. You don't need to achieve certain things in order to feel worthy. You are enough. Why? There's no reason why. It's just because you exist. The moment you question, why do I deserve this? That's when you lost. You are worthy just because you are. There is no reason why. Now, this is baseline state. And once you start embodying this belief and start living, acting, feeling, and thinking in this state, guess what? You will start attracting relationships, people, and experiences that kind of reflect this back. And now When somebody shows you extreme love, unconditional love, when you're dating somebody who has all the green flags, who provides you with all the attention, care, and love and respect, you will not feel like you don't deserve this. It'll feel natural for you because right now, when you don't have a pretty good self worth, you feel that when you experience all these good things in life, you feel like this is not natural. You feel like this is just temporary. Oh my God, so many good things are happening. Maybe there's a bad thing that's about to happen. All of these things that come up when you don't have good self worth, when you don't have that good self esteem. So when you do the internal work, release the shame associated with that pain that you experienced that kind of shaped you into being this person who you're not, that kind of shaped you into fulfilling all these check boxes and sabotaging yourself and just ruining your self worth. Once you just do the internal work and release all of this, you start to raise your self worth. You start to believe in yourself. You start to, show love to yourself. And that becomes natural. Expressing yourself becomes natural, and being feeling deserving, worthy of all the good things in life becomes natural.